daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always today, joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zaki Finch. How you doing, buddy? You right?
I can't keep up, Greg. It's like, we're still fired. Oh no, that's crazy. That's completely shatters what we were going to talk about yesterday. What are we going to do? I guess we're going to talk about what we're going to do going forward. And apparently Russell Martin's now the favourite. Like, we thought that was a joke. Oh no, apparently lots of senior players from his return. Shocker. The statement from Nathan Wood that is the most PR thing that I've ever read in my life, and I feel like ChatGPT would have done a better job. and then within the last half an hour, us being like, apparently Romeu's coming back. Surely that's a lie. That sounds a bit bad. And then everyone just being like, we are so back, as if the last 2 years hasn't come or happened because we've signed one of the players who we've had before. Like, for me, positive news, right? Really good. I'd welcome him back. One of the few players that I would have, right, to be clear. I'm now seeing people talking about, well, we just get everyone that's back. Get Redmond, get Prowsey, just get the whole team. Like, I'm pretty sure the age would catch up with us all, but and also they wouldn't want to come back. But too much has happened, Greg. I can't keep up. Can you keep up? You tell me. How are you feeling, mate?
Yeah, there's a lot in there. Look, let's try and tackle it one by one. Nathan Wood's apology was, let's call it wet, but also I think I feel like sticking up for yourself in that situation, maybe not the worst thing in the world. Like, we don't know what was said. It could have been anything. But also, I think I said to you, if we were doing our job and we'd had, like, a particularly bad day at the office and, like, several things had gone wrong, and then, like, on the way out of the door, someone stood in the car park going, "You suck!" Like, I'm gonna bite back too. Like, it's not...
Where I'm at is that I don't see the point of apologising if you don't really mean it. And that apology looked like he didn't really mean it. And so where I'm at is I'd rather him have just not said anything and let it die down. Because are you telling me there's a contingent of this fan base that are going to go for like the next couple of years? Because regardless of whether he's apologised or not, there are still going to be a group of fans now that are like, well, I hate Nathan Wood ever since he swore at us in that one game. Like, you know, I'm petty like that, to be fair. Not about that kind of stuff, but I'm petty, and I know that other people will be. So the idea of literally, you know, let's put out like the most PR managed statement in the world seems a bit silly. But I understand why. It's just the modern game, innit? And yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. I can understand why it's frustrating for fans. I can understand why it's frustrating for players. I guess regardless of whether we want it or not, it's a new page, right?
I mean,
XYZ.
I mean, a lot of people will just say, "Oh, it's just football, isn't it?" But like, we all know that it's not. It's not as simple as that. Football is a game of high emotion, and you invest in it with your time and with your money, and you know, you follow your team. And you know, we took the mick of that. Was it the New York Jets fan last week that went viral? Zach, like, I hate this team. Like, they're my team and I support them, but I hate them. Like, I get it. Like, we've all been there.
Yeah, that's the most. You say we take the mick. That's the most relatable thing I've seen in years.
Like, and you know what, emotions run high, and you know I don't think biting back to that is necessarily a problem. I don't know enough of the details. I wasn't there. I've seen the video on social media. I wasn't there to hear what was heard or see the response to know if the response was justified or not. But I don't think I care really. And you're right. He would have been better off not apologising than putting out such a wet apology.
Especially, mate, I don't know when it released, right? Because I've seen it this morning. So obviously we're recording Monday afternoon. So I don't know if it came out yesterday, but if the timing of it coming out after Will Still has been fired, at that point, it's also then meant to be lost in the ether, right? Yeah. Or alternatively,
definitely saw it yesterday before Will Still got fired. But
right, okay.
Literally by a matter of like 30 minutes or so. Like it was, it was not like dramatically before, like it's gone out
Oh,
early
mate.
hours of Sunday morning.
Mate, could you imagine that he was asked by Will Steele to put out a statement? So it's the only way you're ever going to get back in the team, lad. So he puts out a statement, and then he's gone. Oh, well, I say that we don't need to invent hypotheticals for how mental everything's been around the club. So how are you feeling? Because obviously the odds are across for the new manager. Obviously the Romain who seems to have almost wiped everyone's brain clean of the fact that we
Yeah.
are managerless 21st and spent the most
Well, I
money in
mean,
the
look,
championship.
let's start with that because it's positive, right? Romain back, great stuff for me. He's a lead. We talked yesterday a lot about how we lack leadership on the pitch and off the pitch, and he is and always was a fantastic leader, very vocal, no nonsense. Yeah, sure, he's a bit older now, but I just don't think. I think that the footballing intelligence that he's always had was always been his strength. Uh, it'll just be. I think it'll be good, and I don't think anyone's under any illusions that he's suddenly going to be playing 90 minutes 3 times in 7 days every week. But that's not. I don't think the purpose of the signing, right? It's sensible to bring in to show that experience and hopefully raise some of these other players' spirits and confidence, either by just having that presence to drag them up, or I don't know, beat them up, whatever they need. They need something like whip them into shape, and yeah, a presence with that leadership potential that's a free agent currently that knows the club. So and it's a good piece of PR, right? Because, like you say, that's it. That's the positive that's going to come. I think that it's an interesting one because I think it means that we probably won't see a new manager announcement this week, right? Like this is the cherry to keep us tide our appetite until presumably after at least the Sheffield Wednesday game at the weekend, right?
I kind of assumed that anyway, right? Like I felt like that unless there were suddenly going to be 3 wins on the trot, they'd already kind of made up their mind that Steele was going, especially if they've been looking at candidates for the last month. And they were probably going to go, well, whoever it is will start from the international break. So, hey, I know that things are terrible right now, but here's this good piece of news, and I do really hope it works out. And you're right, I really hope that he is able to provide some leadership during a time that it's needed the most, because the rest of the players can't seem to be able to do that. So somebody's going to need to.
And I've got some interesting thoughts on how that changes my opinion on other Sports Republic actions. But let's take a little pause, mate. Let's have a break and hear a message from our partners at Bionique.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements, designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Okay, mate. We are back. And so, thinking about that from a purely PR perspective, right? It's going to be hit and miss firing Will Steele, right? Obviously there were calls for it, but people are more angry at us. Let's bring in Romeu as leadership, but also it's good PR. These all feel like things that are very, PR driven and, public opinion driven. So let's smoothly slide that into the next thought of bringing Russell Martin back. Is that that doesn't sound like a particularly PR driven piece by any stretch of the imagination, does it? I don't think I've seen anyone who would actually be happy with that.
I think what it is that if you look at the tenure of Sports Republic in charge of our club so far, where has any of the success come from? Who was able to drive us through a part of, to be clear, it's not something I support, but from their perspective, he is our most successful manager that they have hired previously, right? Regardless of how disastrous last season went. He didn't have a proper director of football for half of the time. Quite frankly, the sort of transfers we brought in during the Premier League season were not very good, up to standard. But I also can't help but look at the fact that Rangers backed him and gave him the players that he wanted, and look how that turned out, right? I feel like if that's he comes back through the door and they all start running up to him and hugging him and be like, "Oh, boss, we missed you." That's like you're not playing for a specific guy. You never were playing for a specific guy. If you want to follow that guy around, you could have left the Rangers at any point. Like,
It's baffling.
I don't see who it's for, other than the fact that again they are falling back onto. I wouldn't be surprised if they are falling back. Also, Greg, it might just be one of the only people who's willing to take the job, right? It might be one of the only people that is happy and willing to step up and take this job. That is a known quantity in the Championship, right? Because I'm seeing names thrown around. We're seeing Brendan Rodgers. Why? What possible reason would he want to? Frank Lampard. Why would he leave Coventry? Steven Gerrard. Yep, we sure turned down Rangers but goes to Southampton. Ralph Hasenhüttl. Well, that's just because he used to manage us, right? Probably turned up the other week, saw it, and went.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah, he was at the Bristol game, right? But also is friends with the Bristol coach. So
yeah, it's because his old assistant manager, who was with him at Wolfsburg, is now at Bristol City. He was invited as a guest of him. Nothing to do with Saints whatsoever. So I can understand, but also it's like us being trapped in the legacy thing again, isn't it? It's like, I'm seeing calls for Redmond to come back, and why don't we just get Bertrand out of retirement and Pella and whoever else? It's just I understand why fans are like that. At least I understand that nostalgia. I am very baffled if the Sports Republic feel that way. But again, it's because it's a known entity, it's a known quantity. They know what they're getting. They know how to deal with him. He's dealt with situations that have been crap prior.
But it's a known entity that literally got booed out of the building. Like people are going to be going to their cupboards to get their existing banners out that have been printed, mate. Like
we'll really know at that point whether they care about the fans at all, right? Because like, how tone deaf is it that after the loss the other day, you've got them trying to encourage people to go to level 1 in the fan zone?
Join us in the Dell for a 10% discount afterwards. That got booed.
Yeah, of course it did. Like, the attendance got booed, mate, to be perfectly honest. And that's where we're at the moment. And, I don't think that our club is going to start doing mass fan protests. And I think they know that. And I think that, it might be unpopular, but also if he strings 2 or 3 wins together, could you imagine how it will change again? Because when he went in the Championship season, we had our doubts, mate, but we weren't exactly unhappy that he was in charge at the time. It's just falling back on what they know. We fall back on all of the players and Ralph and this, that, and the other because that was the best time of our recent history. They're falling back on Russell Martin because that was the best time during their tenure, right? That is how I see it. It could just, and the fact that, they might have a player revolt on their hands. So to try and stop that, you speculated this morning, was the Jack Stevens falling out with Will Steele the thing that we categorically said, well, that sounds like BS because he's at the game. But also, since the supposed captain of an unnamed Championship club fell out with the manager, Jack Stevens has played like 20 minutes of football out of position. So, who knows? That might be the case. Again, I don't want to just speculate for speculation's sake, but I understand the logic. Doesn't mean because I understand it, I think it's correct. And I think that it's mad. I think that it genuinely proves the point to everybody that they don't have a clue what to do. And also, I think from Johan Spor's perspective, like, I wonder if it's genuinely like him being like, hey guys, we probably should do that, and then being like, nah, we probably should. I just want to know where all the information is coming from. Is it just bookings?
Right?
Is it just?
We don't know.
None of it feels legitimate yet. It's day one. It's
And
day
like, you
one.
don't know, right? Because you hear these whispers as well of like, well, actually, despite being forced to step down, Ankerson still steps in and has his input when he wants, and that's part of the problem. Like, it's all a mess. It's just such a mess, all of it.
Yes, there's people. There's now. So there's an article that came out. I'm not going to quote it because I don't know how much truth there is to it yet. So I don't want to start sending people to sources that might be BS. But there's a guy talking about how the apparently the way that Sports Republic is run is an absolute shambles, and there's just a lot of positions at the clubs that don't really need to exist and kind of feel weird. And I don't know how legitimate that is. And I feel like the job of people like Alfie House is difficult because then people are like, oh, you need to, you're not being a proper journalist because you're not asking these questions. But again, it's like access, right? He apparently knew about the Romeu thing yesterday, and people were like, why didn't you tell us straight away? And he's like, well, in journalism, you need to build trust. If you out your sources literally every second, you will get that access removed. And if you get access removed when you are the club journalist, you'll end up in that position that the guy at Blackburn ended up in, right? Where he's banned from all the games.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to know what's going on inside an organisation because you never do. It's why everyone who jokes about, if only you knew what was going on behind closed door in every single business that's ever run. The government not 5 years ago, mate, were using Excel as a database. Like,
Yeah.
so, like, how do you think this all works behind the scenes? I don't think that we've tried to give them the benefit of the doubt multiple times. I just feel like I can't do that until there's any evidence to the contrary. And the evidence to the contrary was the build up to the Premier League and a lot of the fan stuff they did, the fan zones, the turning us into a sustainable club. But as I keep pointing out to you, there's no point in it being a sustainable match day experience when nobody's going. I don't know.
Yeah.
It all feels. You're right. It all just feels a bit weird. It all feels a bit. But again, the other thing I'd like to point out and make everybody like calm down a little bit is as you're listening to this, it'll be day 2 after Will Still's been fired, right? It'll be day 2. There is always going to be the rumour mill. Everything is going to be chucked out. We might have, by this point, you might be celebrating the fact that we signed Romain. It might be, he might come in and do some bits straight
Mate,
away.
as at time of recording, Fabrizio Romano's just here we go'd it. So,
Man. Okay, yeah, but also he was very hit and miss over the summer. He's had his reputation tarnished a little bit. I'm not going to lie. A couple of years ago, you'd maybe go, yeah, every time you put something out, it's fire. Whereas now it's like, well, that could still fall through last minute. And also, is he just retweeting what we've put out? Like,
yeah.
however, okay, but then it is a bit of positivity, and we have to latch onto that. I just thought we'd be latching onto a lot more positivity by this point in the season, right?
Yeah, very much so. Right, mate, let's have another little break before I ask you the difficult question, which, I hope that we've ruminated on it in the last 24 hours and maybe come up with something. But let's have a little word from our partners at Zencastr before we get to that. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. Right, mate. So, I don't know. Who is next? What? Who on this horrible list of names makes you happy? Would make you happy? Are we right?
None. Is there a box for NA? Can I wreck the
Right.
ballot? Like,
Well, look, maybe before we get to that, let's draw our attention in a bit. What about Tondarecker, right? Who's been given this job on an interim basis? It was kind of bandied about that maybe he's like with the prospect of taking the job on. How would you feel about that?
so we're doing what we're doing. We're doing Ruben Salas again, are we? He's going to get one win when he takes charge, and then we give him the rest of the season, and then we go down. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Where I'm at is, he might be in this job by merit. I think you pointed out he'd been in the Red Bull system previously. He was
Yeah, well, he's been
he was in
assistant
Leipzig.
man.
in the same
I did.
time as Spores, so he's a Spores bloke. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, look, I did a U thing, mate, and I did a bit of research. That's the thing. Like he is a very experienced coach. He's been assistant manager in a lot of places. He started in 2011 as an analyst, then became head of scouting in Germany, then became assistant manager, then moved into the Red Bull system and moved to Salzburg, then was assistant manager at the youth level of Salzburg, then to Leipzig and did all the different sort of couple of different youth teams as assistant manager there. Then was at Bayern Munich for their under 17s. Then he went on and was assistant manager for Barnsley for like 125 games. And then, in 2021 was assistant manager at Genoa. So is that like a Romeu link? Because that's where he was then as well, right? If he was assistant manager at Genoa 21-22 until last season.
Oh, what?
So
just other than Barnsley, mate, can you just clarify for me? Are any of those in England in the Championship?
no, none at all.
No, interesting. Isn't that
No.
what we need? Someone that understands the league a bit better.
I don't know, mate.
Because
Well,
that's kind of how I felt with Steele. I was really excited, and he's not been able to get the results.
Whilst I understand that, and I'm with you, like I don't disagree with your sentiment, to play devil's advocate a bit, also, he's only lost one game with our under-21s this season so far, like, knows how to win with a Saints team. Like, would we be horribly offended if we swap out half of the starting 11 with our under-21s? Probably
we put
not.
out the under-21s team, and we start Romeu as captain in the middle. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if it works, mate. If it works.
Chuck Cienza in there as well. And, there's a couple of other players from the starting 11 that you have built up enough credit in the bank to have a go out and be involved. But yeah, stick young Nick Oyelenke. That's what
we're going to need to figure out how to pronounce his name, because this can't go on. Especially if he's going to become a first team regular, which I'm really hoping he does. Like, that's another positive that we were unable to talk to yesterday really much about, because again, like a lamb to the slaughter, both him and Downs thrown on in the last minute to try and do anything without enough time to barely tie their laces, or wait whilst one of the Preston players went down to the floor for half an hour. That's what it felt like.
Goalkeeper over and then miraculously recovered, just the standard.
Yeah, well, that was because he just wanted a break, mate. It's 25 minutes into a game. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Besides the point, keeping on track for a change for me. I understand where you're coming from, mate. I get that. I think that it's difficult because who out there actually has championship experience that's available? Who is going to want the job is the other thing that you need to factor in there. If he gets 2 wins out of the 2 this week, right, that would be really, really positive. And if they need to keep him for a little bit longer until they find the right person, sure. The problem is that does anyone trust them to get the right person? No. Is anyone everybody? If it's an unknown name from some sort of German Bundesliga 2 team, people will be mad.
Yeah.
People will also be. I think a lot of the logical takes are Carrick because of what he did with Middlesbrough, and again, I think the goal has now unfortunately gone from getting promoted to staying up, which is insane when you think about it. And that could all change. Everything at the top could collapse, and we could start climbing our way back up, and then it's a different story. But the reality of the situation of where we are is that we need somebody to take the team by the scruff of the neck, turn this around, change it if it needs to be changed, and get rid of the people that don't want to be here. The problem is does anyone have faith in Sports Republic to do that? I would argue that no, not really.
No.
This would be the 3rd, 4th successive season. We managed 1 season under their tenureship, which was Russell Martin, where we didn't do the cycle of have a manager, get rid of the manager, have an interim manager for a game, bring in another manager, get rid of that manager, bring in another interim, right? That's kind of,
Well, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast
cycle
yet, mate, but I know that I sent it to you the other night in the midst of our sort of back and forth. But we're now more managers in the last 2 years than league wins.
Yes.
So,
we are also averaging every 102 episodes. We are averaging a new manager. So that is if we do 20 episodes in a month, that is basically we do 5 months talking about like. Do you know what I will say is very interesting, Greg? That isn't on any of these lists. Not at no point has anyone suggested the return of Ivan Juric. Because I had to remind my wife of him because she's convinced that they're just going to give it to Lallana eventually, aren't they? And I'm like, probably would be surprised at this point.
They can't, mate, because and genuinely real piece of observational stuff here. Lallana does not yet have the correct UEFA coaching badge to be able to be managing in this league. That might well be the only reason, right?
But I will say some of the other things to alleviate maybe some of the Russell Martin worries that I will point out is he's going to want to come in with Gillian that lot, right? We still have Trollope, we still have Lallana. Trollope is was assistant manager to Will still, so I assume it means that he's going to remain the assistant. Might end up just going back into the coaching team, but if somebody wants to come in and not play into this weird system they've set up, I think that they're going to struggle, which is why I personally think it's going to end up being somebody we don't have a clue. I think that. Do you think that would be better or worse than Russell Martin, mate? Because again, like, how would you get a new manager started unless you give them a shot? We've been very good at that in the past, but the problem is that the last 9 out of 10, bar maybe Hasenhüttl, it's been really difficult, right?
Yeah,
to give somebody like an unknown entity a start from elsewhere. Like even when we brought in Russell Martin, he had championship experience from Swansea. So
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, I don't know if I see a way forward. I hope that we turn it around. And you know what? I hope whoever it is does come in and turns these players around and gets the best out of them, and that we push on and have a good run out to the season because. Man, we've really earned it as fans. Like, we've suffered through some absolute horrid times the last couple of seasons.
I don't think that can be repeated again. That game Saturday cannot be repeated again. And I don't think that the fan base will survive having to put up with that again. Like it's just not acceptable. Like
we've seen the numbers slowly drop away down to 27,000 on Saturday, and I think it'll be even less than that next week, even with still gone. It's just...
because again, this comes to the other thing, which, I'll quickly add on, which is the cost of it, right? Genuinely, I understand that it's not nice to be shouted at by, a bunch of fans who are mugging you off for the fact that you've done your job badly and you already feel bad about it. But also, again, I, as a married man with no children, took my dad, spent 60 quid on the tickets, spent money in the fan zone mainly because I wanted to hang out with you, to be honest. And I know that you go there because it's an easy place for you to take the kids rather than sort of a pub. And you're spending money here, you're putting money into it. I think my dad was to get a shirt and he ended up not bothering because he was too annoyed at the result by the end of the game. And that
would have been another 65 at the moment.
So this is my point. And then and there are a lot of arguments to just not put money into sports public, which I understand as well. I understand why we want to do with it, but it's the amount of money that is spent on away travel and the amount of dedication that the fans put into the club. And again, it's rewarded with oh, by the way, we're removing your season ticket discounts in the shop, and we're gonna make them vouchers that are only eligible during specific times of the shop, and only on the specific item. And it's just guys, come on, man, read the room. And again, this is what I worry about with the Romain thing, because it just feels like it's a tidy piece of PR for them. And then we're going to end up getting, either the under-20s one manager in full time, Russell Martin, because he manages to use his voodoo to convince them that he's good again. Because again, we know he's charismatic. We know he can sit in a room and convince people that he's going to do amazing things because he did it with Rangers and us. Or we end up going for some random Bundesliga 2 manager that Spurs decides to bring in, get relegated to League One, and then Spurs shockingly leaves. Those are my worries. It doesn't need to be like that.
Or maybe there is one plus and flip side to it, mate, is that maybe next season when it comes to season ticket benefits that they'll be back up on the up because all of a sudden it's going to be a more valuable prospect to have season ticket holders as opposed to, we could just sell this season ticket seat for £70 a game and make money off it that way because the attendances are not going to be maximising that. So they're going to struggle. So I think we'll really sort of see their true colours coming out across the next, I guess, era. But
I just want to enjoy being a Saints fan again, mate. That's all I'm asking for. Like, and I think that's what most people are asking for. Nobody wants to enjoy the downfall of the club. No one wants to sit here week in, week out being miserable. Like, good Lord, like we know, from a selfish perspective, whenever a manager's fired, our episodes do really well because everyone is locked into the club. Like, I do not want that to be the brand of Southampton Football Club, is that we just become this absolute banter club that fire our manager every other month because we don't know what we're doing. They can't figure out their style of play and they can't figure out this, they can't figure out that. I want to turn up and go, maybe we'll give a good go of it today. Maybe we'll get a win. We didn't get the win today, but I know that next week there is a perfectly good chance that we might win. Whereas at the moment, it just feels like if a win happens, it seems to be by accident, by miracle, or due to the referee. And that is a devastating place as fans of a football club to be. And, it's not as dramatic as the whole club collapsing, but if it carries on like this, it could be the case down the line.
It's a real slippery slope. Yeah, that's
man.
for sure. Right, mate. That's all we've got time for today. We've got a game to preview tomorrow, believe it or not. That's football still happens despite all of the chaos. The world keeps turning and the football keeps coming.
It's just going to be picking who's not injured, right?
Yeah. I think maybe Romain will be in the starting 11. That'll be something.
What an insane turn that could have taken place over the weekend. I do genuinely feel like sometimes I live in some sort of weird version of the Truman Show.
Yeah,
I'm nuts.
Absolutely.
But that's good. It's going to be exciting to talk about, mate. At least there's something that isn't the most depressing thing you've ever heard.
That's it. Look, that's it. That's all we've got time for today. Let us know on the socials or in the comments how you feeling about Will still going. Who do you want next? How happy are you that Romain is back? How much of a difference it's going to make? We love hearing from you. We're on all of the platforms, on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Hit us up. TikTok, I don't know if I said it, but it's there as well. Like I say, we'll be back tomorrow to preview our clash against QPR. Well, we'll do our best to think about the game and how that might look. But until then, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you then. Have a wonderful day.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.